episode 41 of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast. It's me, Tanner, and as always, I am just happy to be here. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We know that when it comes to podcasts, you have endless options to choose from. So thanks for being here. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a review. We certainly wouldn't be mad about a 5-star review. Just saying. No pressure, just saying. On today's episode, Taylor and I talk about toast, the things we Googled, we make a few odd confessions, and we share what our morning routines look like. So with that, let's hop right into it. Here is episode 41 of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast.
Blam.
Boom shakalaka.
Ta-dow. That's what Will Smith used to say on The Fresh Prince.
Ta-dow?
Ta-dow. Yeah, it's one of his signature. I love it because it could be used for so many things, and it usually punctuated whatever he just said, and I mostly use it incorrectly, but it's still fun and funny because he's a funny guy.
Did you watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air quite religiously as a child? Now, I say the word religiously on a Christian podcast. However, was that your go-to for a while?
I watched a lot of Fresh Prince, man. I was a big Fresh Prince fan. I thought Will Smith's brand of humor was just so good. And that shows probably why from there is where I watched all the rest of the shows I've ever watched, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And so it shaped my comedic taste a lot. He and maybe we've even mentioned this before, but that time of my life where my comedy taste got formed was a lot of Fresh Prince and a lot of Sinbad, stand-up comedian.
Yes.
He's the reason I like stand-up comedy. So between those things that really shaped my comedic taste, I think. Were you a Fresh Prince guy?
In 7th grade, I can remember thinking in Will Smith's voice.
So yes. So it's a strong yes.
And I would do things where it was how he would turn his suit coat inside out.
Yes.
And I went to a private school in elementary and high school, and I was like, what if I turned my polo shirt inside out? I even did the thing where there's one episode when he's in high school and he stands up in class and everyone looks at him. Yeah. And I was like, I could do that too. I tried it out. Didn't go too well.
Didn't
go great. But I watched that show to the point of where I was like, I think that this is kind of taking over my personality.
Yeah.
So I kept watching even more of it, and but yeah, that played a big role in my life, more than I would like to admit. But I just admitted it. So here we are. There's nothing like admitting something on Thursday, February 25th. Which speaking of February 25th, that is the time of which we are recording this podcast.
Yep.
There are 4 important things that we need to talk about.
Massively important.
4 national celebrations that are taking place as we speak, because this is what we celebrate on February 25th. Now, yes. I'm going to put this in order of things that I don't want to talk about to things that I do want to talk about. The first is, it's National Clam Chowder Day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, which is gross.
I was going to say, I'm not sure I've ever had good clam chowder.
Yeah.
Maybe I have. Saying. Maybe I haven't. Or maybe I've had really good clam chowder, and I thought, it's not good.
I don't like clam chowder.
So anyways, we can't celebrate all 4 of these things today, so I'm not celebrating them. Today is also National Chili Day. I love chili. Yeah. How do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on chili? Give me your chili thoughts.
Here are my thoughts. I got to ask this question, though. Which chili? Are we talking about the country? Are we talking about the peppers? Is it National Chilies Day? Give them a baby back, baby back, baby back?
Ooh. Those are all very good questions. It's just chili.
Oh, okay.
Like you eat it out of a bowl.
That chili. That would have been the fourth question, I suppose. I missed that one.
Well, and I thought maybe like I'm a little cold. It's just chili, which
Oh,
I would
yeah.
never. I would never celebrate that. That's not something
No.
I want to. I don't want to celebrate being cold.
No.
When I lived in Wisconsin, they tried to tell me that the way that you eat chili is over noodles or with noodles.
No.
I think I'm remembering that correctly, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's true. I don't think that's how you eat chili. That's
No.
not how I'm eating chili.
No. The only time I've ever been exposed to that is actually in Ohio. Tanner, have you ever been to Ohio?
We all have a past, Taylor.
It's a deep, dark past in Ohio. So Ohio has a chain of restaurants called Skyline Chili, and their signature dish is chili over spaghetti noodles. And I was horrified. And I was in 7th grade when I found out about that. And I haven't like changed my mind on that at all. It sounds terrible.
I don't know why we need to take something that's meant for a bowl and then put it on a plate.
No. Right.
I'm not sure. I am a firm believer that the best foods come in bowls. Things that come on plates, they're probably just fine, right? But the best meals come in bowls, and I'm eating them with a spork. Did I tell you that like a month ago I ordered 4 sporks because I want to eat with a spork rather than a fork. So now I do. Man, it's really all kind of coming out in this episode.
It really is. We're getting down into it.
Okay, so that's chili day, not the country, not the weather, the actual meaty, wet goodness. That's not what I should say. The next thing is National Chocolate Covered Nut Day.
If there's a day I could get behind.
You just wait. It's good.
There's more.
Oh, that's the third one. We have one more to go. National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. Now I have to be careful as I talk about this because it could sound one way. However, I like the. Let's move on to the next one. National Toast Day. This is it. This is the cream of the crop.
I can tell why you saved this one for last.
Now I understand that I just said the best foods come in bowls.
Yeah.
Now usually toast comes on a plate, but I'm putting it in a bowl because I'm not gonna not take back what I said about bowls.
No, right.
Taylor, yesterday I tweeted these words. Put them, and also we need to note that these need to go on my gravestone.
I'm noting it.
Thank God for buttered toast.
Oh man,
I stand by those words.
Stand by those words.
And you know what? I will lay by those words for the rest of eternity. National Toast Day. But I mean, It's true. I love, like, anytime I have a piece of buttered toast, which, to be honest, is almost every day.
Yeah.
It's the best part of my day.
It's seriously great.
It is. So I have celebrated already National Toast Day. And before I go to bed tonight, I might celebrate one more time. I might do it one more time.
You absolutely should. And if I could just quickly back up the toast in a bowl thing. Toast, I think we can both agree, Tanner, is a very versatile food. A very versatile food. You could go butter. You could go jelly. You could go pick a spread. There's a lot of great things. Cream cheese. A lot of good things can go on toast. In addition to that, if you go southern with your toast, that's a lot of breakfast mixing happening. And I'm talking in a bowl, throwing eggs prepared the way you like them, grits, bacon, hash browns, all stirred up into a bowl. And you better believe there's a piece of toast snuggled right in to that bowl. And it's all just a delicious pile of goodness. And, man, just scooping some of that right up on your toast. The bowl works. That's all I'm trying to say.
Bone apple teeth. It couldn't be any better than that. You know how you get excited about things and you're like, this is so strange that this is what I get excited about.
Yeah.
It is so odd to me that this is what my brain, my soul, my heart, my being just gets excited about, is buttered toast. How bland of a human being do I have to be for that to be the truth? And I understand that it is a very, very bland thing to say. Quite vanilla. I get it. But you can't change who you are. And if you could, I'm not changing this part, because have you had buttered toast? Oh,
Right.
my goodness. Okay. Well, I think we have to move on from the buttered toast talk. I got a text from my mom this morning.
Yeah.
And she told me that she had listened to the last episode 40, and these were her words.
Yeah.
Giggled out loud a few times. So
She giggled out a few times?
yeah,
Come on. What?
that's some high praise.
Get out of it. That is high praise. That's some grade A mom praise.
And that's, as a 31-year-old man, it's still what I need in my life. It's still what I need in my life.
That's right.
So Taylor, I wanted to pass that on to you to let you know that my mom is not just laughing at me, but she's also laughing at you.
That's so sweet. And here's to hoping she's right here with us in episode 41.
Taylor, what have you Googled recently? We're just going to jump right into it.
Let's just get into it.
We're hitting all the things today. We're talking about National Day. We're talking about the things that we Googled, and then we got a question.
Yes.
At the end. But before we get to the question, I do want to know, what's something that you've Googled recently?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tanner, the ATP Tour, which is the Association of Tennis Players Tour.
Obviously. Taylor, come on. We all know that.
Of course. I feel so silly for having just defined it. Is what the NBA is to you, but for me. The ATP is to me what the NBA is to you. That's what I was trying to say. To phrase it in an SAT question kind of way. I love the tennis tour. I love all sports, but tennis, I just grew up on it, holds a special place in my heart, and I am interested. I kind of semi-regularly check in on this question, what the world thinks about who the tennis GOAT is, greatest of all time. It's a big question in all sports, obviously. Yes. The world just, got to see Tom Brady as a 75-year-old man win his 7th Super Bowl. And people are like, well, obviously, it's hard to argue against that level of success. And I asked that question about tennis. Who's the tennis GOAT? It's a big conversation in the tennis world because right now the 3 best tennis players of all time are still alive and actively on the tour. Huh. And so it's been a very, very interesting era, kind of an era unlike any other in professional tennis. And so those 3 players are Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic. Long-time Novak Djokovic fan personally. But I asked the question because I want to see what people are saying, what kind of statistics they're looking at, what seems to bear the most weight in this conversation. And I have my own thoughts, but there's an interesting spread between the 3 players. But it's an interesting question. It's an interesting question, and that's what I Googled. And it's fun.
Do you get frustrated when somebody disagrees with you?
On this question?
Yes. Are you pretty adamant that who's your guy again? Djokovic?
So I am a Djokovic fan, but like who I would say the actual GOAT is Roger Federer. I like both Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic better as people and as tennis players. But I don't particularly get upset if somebody disagrees with me. There's some really good arguments for all these guys. Like for Roger Federer, he just had a span. The reason why I err on this side is because he had this span before Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic were on the scene, between like 2003 and 2007, where no one could touch this guy. And it took Rafael Nadal kind of like ascending to his level to start to challenge that. So he took this handoff of tennis eras between like the late 90s and early 2000s and became the guy. And far above, he still holds the record currently. Novak Djokovic is creeping up on it, but for most time spent as number one. And so there's arguments for every guy as you look at different stats. Like Novak Djokovic has a winning record against both Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. So I don't know. I keep an open mind. I try not to get too angry in this topic. I think it's a fun conversation.
And that's kind of your personality too, right? Okay, now let me ask you this. So the conversation when it turns to the NBA, and like you said, tennis is to you as NBA stuff is to me, the game of basketball has just changed so much. And like there's so many differences between basketball and tennis.
Right.
But it's like it's 5-on-5, and then in tennis it's 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
And it's probably easier to say this person is the greatest in tennis rather than this person is the greatest in the NBA, because the game of basketball just continues to change so much. And so it's like, well, this guy from the 70s, like we have no idea how he would match up with somebody from current basketball, right?
Yes.
But I feel like with tennis, you could be like, as much as the game has evolved as well, because of course it does, like everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can always say, but for the most part, right, you can kind of pinpoint, like, well, this guy's record's better than this, and we see this over time.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I never really thought of it like that.
It is.
I don't think people realize how big of a tennis fan you are. And how good you are at tennis. One of the first times that I've had a lot of candy, so it comes out. One of the first times that we hung out, we played tennis together.
Oh, yes, we did.
I thought, going into this is a time of confession, I was like, oh, Taylor just likes tennis. You're very good at tennis. And I went in thinking, like, we're just going to hit the ball. And you're like, yeah, we could do that, or I could just dominate everything. And you were very kind to me as you went easy on me, and I know that you did. Don't you dare tell me you didn't. But I'm pretty sure at one point I asked you to go a little bit easier, because and the times that I've played tennis, which not that many.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. And then the next day I was very sore. And the one thing here's my one thing that I don't like about tennis. I'm not great at counting. Just not great at counting.
Well, the counting is intentionally dumb in tennis, and I'll be the first to own that. So it's ridiculous. But Tanner, going to what you Googled, and I happen to know what you Googled, but this is a frequent, if like we were asking, what do you YouTube search frequently, we would share this, and I'm excited to hear you talk about it.
Taylor, last week, 2 weeks ago, I walked up a hill.
Yeah.
And I got winded. Now, if you look at me, you're not going to say that human being is out of shape. You might say he probably looked better when he was in high school, to which I would say, yes. But I am not in shape. And I am going to blame the pandemic. I am going to blame the winter, and I'm going to blame my lack of self-control, because I just don't want to exercise, and I want to eat candy, as I've mentioned, and buttered toast, which is healthy because I said it is.
Yes.
But recently, after walking up that hill and getting winded, I was like, it's time. Like, it's time to get back into shape, and it's still a little chilly here. Hey, chilly. It's still a little chilly here in Nashville, and I'm not going to be outside, and I'm not ready to go back to the gym yet. Just kind of want to wait till I get the vaccine. And so I fired up the old YouTube, typed in HASFIT, HASFIT. It's this married couple, Coach Kozak and his wife, and man, they got these great videos. And Here's what I'll say that I like about them.
Yeah.
They tell you exactly what they're going to do. There's no surprises. There's no surprises at all. I can do it in my living room. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Here's what I don't like about it. I'm not good at them yet, but that's really my fault. And so I did the first video that I did, because when you're like I'm gonna get back into shape, you think that you're in better shape than you actually are.
Always.
And at least for me, and I'm like, I could do this 30-minute high intense cardio video. So I did, but I did it in 20 minutes because I couldn't finish it. And I was exhausted. And then 3 days later, I did a 13-minute standing ab video.
Oh, yeah.
Because I hate doing things on the ground.
Oh, sure.
I hate it's not for me, how like noodles in your chili are for some? That's not for me. Neither is doing ab workouts on the ground. You and I used to do ab workouts on the ground, and I'm pretty sure I would say to you, I'm not doing this one. Because
yeah, that's right.
I didn't like it. And I didn't have a coach telling me that I needed to do it. So I didn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yesterday I did this 20-minute cardio. And so it's like I'm slowly getting back into shape, and I'm starting to enjoy it more, and I'm starting to feel healthier and sleep better. Nice. It just kind of got to this point where I was like, I am only going to be young for so long, and I'm only going to get to do these things for so long. I want to do them. And so that was, you have these moments, these like sobering thoughts where you're like, oh, great. So you're saying that I've wasted the last year. Basically, yes. But yeah, usually I don't like talking about working out and fitness.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. This is not a fitness podcast.
No, it is far from it, actually. I would say, if anything, we are more of a junk food podcast. we probably talk about more unhealthy habits than we do about healthy habits, which actually leads us right into our question of the week. A question that has been submitted to us is, what is your morning routine? And this is a question that fascinates me, because I do think that if you were to look at my day, you would see that I am more disciplined in the morning than throughout the rest of the day. Like, it basically just goes downhill from the morning. Like, in the morning, you're like, man, I bet this guy gets a lot of stuff done. And then by like 1 o'clock, it's like, wow, you totally lost interest in today.
I hear that.
What is your morning routine like?
So my morning routine, and I would have to, those words resonate with me a lot. I feel like mornings are very structured, and then it just kind of, nosedives a little bit. But yeah, my morning, I wake up 5:45. I take a quick shower. I prepare, I should say get dressed, I guess. I prepare mine and my wife's coffee.
Nice.
And she likes to do Keurig coffee, and I do like a dark roast, in a normal coffee maker that we own. Anyway, you don't need those details. But
then I take 3 steps to the left.
3 steps to the left. Let me just describe everything. But I prepare our coffee. I then read 3 chapters in Scripture, and kind of the pattern I've assigned for myself is I am reading one narrative book at a time, one chapter of narrative writing in the Scriptures, one chapter of wisdom / poetry books, and then one chapter of epistle books, letters. And so it's kind of my rhythm, and then I am praying on my commute to work. Maybe it sounds weird, but I consider myself fortunate to have a half-hour commute to work, so that time is dedicated to prayer every morning. So that's my morning routine.
I like that. I think taking advantage of that time in the car to pray. Yeah. I get this every couple of days. I go to the post office to deliver orders, and I used to be somebody who would listen to music in the car. I mean, but it's like 5 minutes away, and so now I'm either talking to God or yelling at the drivers around me. Both of which seem seem very similar. We have very similar conversations. But I can remember where it's like, you know, you just get to that point where like this feels more important than listening to a podcast or listening to an album or something. It's just like, well, I think I'm going to spend this time in silence.
Yeah.
For me, my morning routine, it's very similar, at least Monday through Friday. I wake up and I drink a big cup of water. I don't know why. I read something somewhere where you should do that. And I feel like it's the right thing for me to do. Because then after that, I'm just going to like, you know, basically poke holes in my body and pour coffee into them. Then after I drink some water, Sarah and we take Pancake on a walk, and it's about a mile or so. And then I come back, make some coffee, make some breakfast, buttered toast, obviously. Read some scripture. So I'll read about a chapter or so. My friend Ben and I are reading through a book of the Bible at a time, so we read a chapter of that and then text back and forth. And then I usually find something else to read. I usually just flip to a psalm or a proverb. And then I feed Pancake and look over my schedule for the day. And then from there, I basically question my entire existence. So that's really it. That's quite normal for me.
It's the money.
Yeah, and I think my morning routine changes up every now and again. I think it's good to like evaluate and say, hey, this is good, this isn't good. I want to make a change here, make a change there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there have been times in the past where it's like I do 10 minutes of stretching and I go for a long walk, and now it's like I'll look at my toes and think about touching them tomorrow.
I'll think real hard about it, though.
Yeah, someone has to. Taylor, I think we did it. I think we did this podcast.
I think we did.
We made it.
We accomplished the podcast.
We did, and we were on a shorter little schedule tonight. I have to run out the door, and you know what? I could probably talk for about 20 more minutes about toast. However, I did make a note. I made a note that we need to come back and really finish this conversation out because we need to draft different types of spreads that you put on bread. Now, does that sound exciting to anyone who's listening? I don't know. Does it sound like the most exciting thing that I am going to do in the future? As of right now, yes. 100%.
100%.
My mind is spinning. I've already thought about 3 different kinds of butter. I've got a list of jams in my head, and you better believe that I'm really considering taking honey higher than it should go. But that's just where I'm at today.
Oh, man.
For those who are listening, if you have a question that you would like for us to tackle, or if you want to share with us what you're Googling, send an email to writtentospeak@gmail.com, or you can find Taylor and I all over the internet. That's where we do things.
All over.
All over. Probably more than we need to. At least than I need to. And that's very true. All right, Taylor. It's great talking to you, man. I will talk to you again real soon.
Yeah, real soon, man. JHTBH.
JHTBH. We are just happy to be here. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast. If you have a question or you want to share something that you've Googled recently, we would love to hear from you. You can send us a message at writtentospeak@gmail.com, or you can find us online. Check out the show notes before you go. And hey, keep an eye out for the next episode, because you just never know when it's going to drop. And we also never really know when it's going to drop. All right. Thanks again for listening. Much love. Peace. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube video. Make sure that you subscribe. I think there's a button right below me. So just click on that, subscribe, and then go find something else on the internet. It's a really big place. You can find videos of cats and dogs, horses, a lot of animals. There's a lot of animal videos on the website, actually on this website, on YouTube. So just check it out. Or you can watch more of my poetry videos or any other videos that I have. So like, subscribe, do all those things, and I will see you next time.